Hey y'all, excuse the unprofessional reaction attire. Y'all see I got the white beater on. Bro, there's a reason why I have this on. Do y'all see this? Y'all see this, bro? 93, but it feels like 100. And I got the AC on, it's still hot. It's still hot. Boy, oh boy, this heat wave has been insane. And something that I've been wondering recently is, why have these heat waves been going on in America, South America? Hell, there are people dying in France. They are diving into the water in Paris and accidentally drowning because of how hot it is. And it's probably all because of this. A super El Nino is forming. Video by Ryan Hall, y'all. Bro, I know y'all been hearing about this super El Nino stuff, at least recently within the past week. Because boy, oh boy, y'all think what we dealing with right now is hot? Wait until y'all see what's coming. So all I'm gonna say is anybody who wants to do anything outside, stop that shit right now. Stop that shit right now and stay in the crib. Let's get into this. Let's go.
A super El Nino is forming in the Pacific Ocean right now. You've probably seen this all over the news, TikTok, Facebook, and every weather page that you follow. People are saying that this thing could change hurricane season, flip our winter, and rewire the weather across the entire globe. But is it actually
flip our winter? Ooh, what do they mean by flip our winter? Do not tell me that I am gonna have to deal with these same temperatures in December, bro. Hey, bro, when niggas said the climate was changing in 2013, the motherfuckers ain't believe them. Hey, that whole situation is the definition of, hey, you may be right, just not right now. Because good Lord, are they definitely right now?
super yet? And does this mean that hurricane season will actually be any different? And more importantly, what does this mean for your backyard? In this video, we're going to separate the hype from the real forecast and show you exactly what could happen this season. So let's get right into it. So first, let's actually define what El Nino even is. Okay, so in plain English, it's when unusually warm water builds up in the central and eastern tropical Pacific. And that warm water changes where the biggest tropical thunderstorms actually fire up. We refer to this broader ocean and atmosphere pattern as ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation. The El Nino part is the part that happens in the ocean, and the Southern Oscillation is the part that happens in the atmosphere. It's basically a pressure seesaw across the tropical Pacific. When pressure drops more towards the central and eastern Pacific and rises more back towards Indonesia and Australia, the trade winds weaken and the whole Pacific starts shifting. Picture the Pacific like a giant bathtub, okay? Most of the time, the trade winds are going to blow from east to west along the equator, and they shove all that warm surface water over towards Asia and Indonesia. And that actually lets colder, deeper water rise up near South America, so the bathtub is tilted, with warm air piled up more on one side. But during El Nino, those trade winds actually weaken, and sometimes they can even reverse. So the bathtub starts leveling out, warm water slides back east towards the Americas, and the main zone of tropical thunderstorms starts to shift east with it. And this
the one spot of areas that I'm thinking of in America that need to be on high alert, California, obviously. Y'all niggas need to start preparing. Y'all should have started preparing in January. California, because I guarantee you, with this heat wave going on and this apparent super El Nino that's gonna happen, California's definitely gonna catch on fire. Like let's not beat around the bush here, bruh. California is catching on fire, unfortunately. The Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and certain parts of Texas. For the love of God, get prepared. And even certain parts of South America, please get prepared, because good Lord.
really matters because those storms pump heat right into the atmosphere. And when you move that heat source, you change the pressure patterns, the upper level winds, and eventually the jet stream even thousands of miles away. To track the ocean side of this, we watch a patch of water called the Nino 3.4 region. But there's a secret better measuring stick in the relative oceanic Nino index, which is known as RONI, or RONI, because it compares that Nino 3.4 warmth against the broader tropical ocean background. For an El Nino declaration, you're looking for the 3-month running average to meet that warm threshold for 5 overlapping 3-month periods. That's the qualifier that tells us that this warm-up isn't just a quick blip. Now, where on this qualifier system does it tell us whether or not it's going to be a super El Nino? Well, actually, that's not an official NOAA category, okay? The strongest common label is very strong, and that means that the Nino 3.4 region.
I'm glad that I'm learning about more scientific terms in this junk, because hey, I don't know about the other people that y'all watch. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, I know all this. I don't. I am learning about this along with you.
Is running about 2 degrees Celsius or more above average. Right now, some of the model guidance is showing something that looks even higher than that. We could be talking about temperatures being 3 degrees above average, and some people are referring to that as super, but again, that's not an official scale. So if it's not even an official term, then why in the heck are we talking about it? Because there might be something there, okay? We do believe that we're going into an El Nino, and it looks like it's going to be above the very strong level, at least on some models. And we know this because the ocean has already made its move. Remember, normally those trade winds hold all the warm water back in the Western Pacific. At least that's how it normally works. But this year we've had several reversals of those winds called westerly wind bursts. Instead of shoving the warm water west, the winds briefly flip around and push from west to east. And one of the more significant bursts of the season was actually strung along the equator by typhoons to the north and south at the same time, basically funneling those westerly winds together with compounding force. Think of it like,
I wonder, was that I know it was hurricane season in Jamaica when this happened, but is this like shift in weather, the whole El Nino thing? Is this the reason why Hurricane Melissa happened? Let me know. I don't know. I feel like this might have been the reason why Hurricane Melissa happened. Also, this might have been the reason why winter was dragged on for so long. Dog, it was snowing in April. At least down here, it was snowing in April.
2 big fans pointed down the same hallway. That helped shove a giant pulse of warm water way to the east. Now, this pulse has a name. It's called a downwelling Kelvin wave. Now, this is not the kind of wave that you'd surf. It's a slow, broad push of warm water and higher sea level that travels along the ocean's surface and just below it. And this actually messes with the thermocline, okay? And that's the boundary between the warm water up top and the colder water underneath. In simple terms, it presses that warm layer of water downward, and it carries heat thousands of miles along the equator. And we can actually see it. NASA and European satellites have tracked this warm pulse moving east, and by mid-May, the seas near Peru were running more than 15 centimeters higher than average. Underneath the surface, some regions are running 3 to 4 degrees Celsius above normal, and that's a huge reservoir of heat just sitting there waiting. So NOAA's been pretty clear here. As of their June discussion, they gave a 97% chance of an El Nino forming into the early summer, and the Nino 3.4 region had already climbed to around plus 0.7 degrees Celsius, so we're almost there. And they also forecast a 63% chance for a very strong El Nino, stating that it would rank among the largest.
Hold on, a very strong El Nino. This is talking about between the months of November and January. Lord, bro, do not tell me we're gonna have to deal with these same temperatures or higher in my birthday month and onward into the next year of 2027. Y'all are crazy as shit. Hey, bro, niggas might have to move to Antarctica, bro. I've dealt with this heat for like 2 days, and I just want to go somewhere cold. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all.
El Nino events in the historical record going back to 1950. And I just wanted to throw this in here too. While I was making this video, the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, they run a model called Access. And right now it has every single ensemble member above the very strong threshold. Their model gives a 100% chance.
It gets hot. Hold on. I don't know if y'all can see this because my camera's right here. Let me move it real quick. It gets higher every single month. July, y'all see it's right here. August, boom, hell of an increase. September, boom, hell of an increase. October, another increase. And then November, my birthday month, it's edging right here, bro. Damn.
chance of a very strong event, which is just kind of mind-blowing, okay? I bring it up because you just gotta admire that data, and maybe that adds some weight to the super El Nino discussion. Now, we just did a video about hurricane season and how El Nino might affect that, and if you haven't seen that yet, I highly recommend it, but things have changed a little bit. The El Nino forecast is a little bit more solidified now. So the question everybody is asking again is, well, is hurricane season canceled? Because you've probably heard before that hurricanes are picky and fragile. To grow, they need warm water and stacked organized thunderstorms with relatively calm winds above them. They want everything to be lined up nice and neat, almost like a stack of pancakes. So if you start sliding the top pancake one way and you start sliding the bottom pancake another way, the whole thing is going to fall apart. And during an El Nino event, all that Pacific heat shifting east changes the way heat and pressure set up across the tropics. One of the big effects is that the upper level winds over the Caribbean and Atlantic tend to get stronger. So in plain English, storms that are trying to stand up straight like a stack of pancakes start tipping over sideways. And that's something that we call wind shear, okay? Wind shear is just the change in wind speed and direction as you go up in the atmosphere. Too much of it acts like a lawnmower, slicing the tops of the storms off before it can ever stack up and organize. That's the single biggest reason El Nino tends to knock down Atlantic hurricanes, because the
Oh shoot, so that means no more hurricane season. I'm guessing there's hella cons to this though. Like, one of the pros is, oh yeah, no more hurricanes. I'm guessing one of the cons is, like, 1, extreme heat for sure. 2, maybe wind pressure might get higher. I don't know. We're gonna figure that out as we go more into this video. But I guess that's a positive from this El Nino shit. All of the people that live in areas where hurricanes are prone to happen, y'all hopefully won't have to worry about that this year.
Shear is going to be in place for much more time. And the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center reflects this perfectly. They're given a 55% chance of a below normal season. They're calling for 8 to 14 named storms, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and 1 to 3 majors. Compare that to a normal year, which averages 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 majors. So fewer storms across the board in the Atlantic. And we're going to dive much deeper into that right after we shout out today's awesome sponsor. I may not have a cat anymore, but I know a lot of you guys watching do, and you want the absolute best for them. That makes complete sense, and that's why today's sponsor really to the forecast. But here's something that we didn't really talk about in our last video. The Eastern Pacific is actually going to get the opposite signal, with maybe 15 to 22 named storms over there. And the reason is pretty simple. That basin is expected to run warmer than average, so there's going to be more ocean fuel available. Even if some of the other ingredients are closer to average, even if they do have some wind shear down there, the warmer water alone can tilt the odds towards more activity. That's the seesaw. The Atlantic gets suppressed and the Pacific cranks up. But once again, as we talked about in my last video, if you live along the Gulf Coast, below average is not the same thing as safe. The Gulf of Mexico is still a bathtub, and the El Nino shear is not going to blow at full blast every single day, even if it's a super El Nino. If that shear relaxes for just a few days and a tropical wave, an old front, or a Central American gyre is sitting there at the same time, it can be enough for a storm to spin up very quickly and start going towards land. And these kinds of storms can happen fast with less warning than one of those storms that comes all the way over from Africa. So no, hurricane season is
okay. So hurricane season can still happen. There's less of a chance of it happening, but yeah, don't go off of what I said earlier, bro. Your chances ain't zero, bro. There's like a 30 to 50% chance that hurricanes is probably still gonna happen, which is very unfortunate.
Still not canceled. The overall storm count may go down, but the danger to your specific coast does not disappear, especially since the perfect setup can still happen, and it only takes one for it to be memorable for you. Now that's hurricane season, but I think the bigger story for most of you watching this is going to be what this does for your winter. And it all comes down to where the jet stream sets up. In a normal setup, a lot of big tropical thunderstorm action is tucked farther west across the Pacific. But during El Nino, that warm water and thunderstorm zone shifts out into the central Pacific. And those storms are not just sitting there looking pretty on satellite. Way up high, the winds spread out from those storms and they diverge, kind of like those big anvil clouds fanning out from the top of thunderstorms. Some of that upper level wind is going to spread to the north, and that physically changes the shape and position of the polar jet. At the same time, it helps juice up the subtropical jet stream. So because the presence of those thunderstorms in the central Pacific means that the water cycle is in high gear, there's a ton of extra moisture available, and that moisture is going to ride along the subtropical jet, which aims itself right into the southern US. And here's what that's looked like in some past years, okay? If you're in California, you probably probably have heard about the historically strong El Nino that we had back in 1997 and 1998. That winter, the storm track locked right in, and it became the second warmest and seventh wettest winter for the country.
So you're telling me that California is like the punching bag of America when it comes to like heat waves and like bullshit happening. You're telling me California, on top of dealing with the heat wave and potential fires, they gonna have to deal with like landslides and floods and all that? Damn. And if you in Cali, either move out or pray to the universe.
Since 1895. California got absolutely hammered. Agricultural losses alone ran somewhere between $650 and $700 million. This wet, stormy pattern is the most common outcome for El Nino years. And it's a big reason why we're making this.
So not only is this El Nino fucking up the weather, it's gonna bring hotter winds to some places, colder winds to some places. This shit is going to fuck up the economy too. More than the economy is already fucked. Oh, yo, why? Why? In 2026, man, 2026. This is going to be a year. One for the books, I swear down.
Video. But of course, as always, there's an exception to the rule. There's another potential path that this setup could lead to, and that could resemble the 2015 into 2016 El Nino. Some people called it the Godzilla El Nino because on paper it was just as strong as the 1998 El Nino, and yet Southern California never got that 1998 style deluge. The storms favored other areas and largely missed. So if you're in California, El Nino heavily tilts your odds towards a wetter winter. 2015 is the antithesis that proves that there are always other variables at play, so it's not 100% guarantee, but 1998 shows you what could happen when that track locks in. Now, let me zoom out for the rest of you. Across the southern tier, the wet signal gets stronger, and the cool season severe risk especially ramps up along the Gulf Coast and into Florida. That matters because El Nino winters crank up cool season severe weather. The Weather Service in Tallahassee shows about 15 tornadoes on average during El Nino conditions, roughly double a normal year. Now, up in the northern U.S., your tilt is in the other direction, generally milder and less snowy than a classic cold winter. But here's the northeast wild card. Milder does not mean harmless. When all that southern moisture overruns a pocket of cold air sitting at the surface, you get ice. Damaging ice storms can happen like the brutal 1998 event in northern New England, upstate New York, and Canada. Now, I'm going to save the city-by-city snow numbers for the full winter outlook, which you can expect soon. But for now, just know that the big pattern looks like it's going to be wet and stormy south, milder north, and there's going to be an ice wild card in the northeast. So how confident are we in all of this? I'm going to give it to you straight because the internet is melting down right now, at least on my algorithms. A lot of people are talking about this El Nino thing. The occurrence part is rock solid.
Yeah, bro. The first time I heard about El Ninos, niggas was doing the whole, oh shit, this the end of the world. People were really on my FYP being like, oh yeah, this is the end of the world. We're cooked. It's over. Like that's been happening since like 2020. Anytime you pop up on your FYP during the summer or maybe during the fall, someone's always like, the world is ending because of this, that, and the third. And the world is still here. Even though it is definitely damaged. We need to start looking more into greenhouse energy. I mean not greenhouse, but green energy. I don't know if y'all seen the things going on in, I don't know if it was, I think it was Argentina. They're like these polar ice caps. Them shit's been falling like a motherfucker. The earth has been telling us for a brick, hey, stupid humans, y'all niggas are killing us. Y'all killing us, but we ain't listen. We did not listen.
Okay, as of June 11th, NOAA gives a 100% chance of an El Nino sticking around through 2026 and even into the start of 2027. That part is locked in. We're definitely going into El Nino. And the strength...
Bro, I thought an El Nino was only for like at the most 1 month. They said that this El Nino is going to last from the summer all the way until next year. That is like a cool 5 to 6 months of pain.
forecast just took a massive jump. They previously had a very strong event, that super level everybody's been yelling about, at a roughly 1 in 3 chance, but now the probability has rocketed up to 63%, nearly doubling in likelihood. That's a massive increase in confidence. Even though the Super El Nino is not an official term, we're going off the charts here. But even with these odds, these top tier events are rare. In the modern record, only a handful of El Ninos have reached that 2-degree level. So we're in uncharted territory here, at least as far as having a lot of data to go back on. So what does that mean in terms of the apocalypse headlines that you might have heard on the internet, over on TikTok and, places like that? A lot of the viral panic seems to point back to the 1877 famine, where historians estimate that somewhere between 19 and 50 million people died around the world. That actually happened, and it happened because of El Nino for the most part, and it's horrifying. But a repeat of that exact dynamic in the developed world today is far less plausible. We've got modern forecasting, we've got global food trade, we've got crop insurance, emergency response. We can see this coming months out. With that being said, I won't tell you that we're invincible. Roughly 13 million Americans still live in mapped 100-year floodplains, so the hazards are real. But again, I think all the apocalyptic headlines and comparing this to 1877 is a bunch of baloney. And there's also another part to this that nobody really talks about, and that's that the 1998 El Nino cost about $4 billion in US damage. Sure, but the same mild northern winter generated about $19 billion in economic benefits and saved about 850 lives from cold-related deaths. So the apocalypse takes are wrong, but this pattern is still consequential. So let's bring it all home here. Is hurricane season canceled? No. El Nino likely knocks down the overall Atlantic numbers, but it does not cancel the season. And here's the one line I want you to walk away with, okay? Lower odds overall, but higher consequences if the one storm does form near you. If you need proof, look at that.
Lower odds, but hey, let that perfect situation happen. It's clip for some of y'all. I really hope that doesn't happen though, because we've seen a lot of natural disasters happen, at least this year and last year, and people are, Jamaica is still recovering from Hurricane Melissa. I know it ain't on the news, y'all ain't seeing a lot of it, but Jamaica is still recovering from Hurricane Melissa. Hell, there are countries who are still recovering from hurricanes that happened years ago. The shit is brazy. I wish natural disasters on nobody. Literally, that's the one thing I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy.
1992. That was a quiet season, just 7 named storms, 4 hurricanes, and one of those hurricanes was Hurricane Andrew. It killed 65 people and caused about $26.5 billion in damage. A quiet season delivered one of the most catastrophic landfalls in American history. And as we always say, it only takes one. But don't be scared, be prepared, because we're not helpless here. Our forecasting is so much better than what it used to be, even just looking back to the 90s. The average 72-hour track forecast today is more accurate than the 24-hour forecast was back then. And preparing really pays off. Every dollar that we put into mitigation saves about $6 down the road. Remember, just 1 inch of water in your home can cause up to $25,000 in damage. So here's what to actually do. If you're on the Gulf Coast, don't wait for a named storm. Review your evacuation plan right now. Check with your insurance. Know what you're going to do if something comes up close to land. And if you're out west in California, use these next couple of months to clear your drains, know your flood-prone roads, and make sure that if you're near a burn scar, you take the mud.
Hey, all my people in California, screenshot this right now. Screenshot this and do this, please. Take this seriously. I'm genuinely saying that, bro. Please take this seriously.
Slide risk seriously. So this video was the setup. We've got a lot of people talking about the Super El Nino. I just wanted to put my own, 2 cents out there. But the full winter outlook is where we're going to go really deep on the snow, the ice, the rain, and the region by region impacts. So do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And stay well.
Shout out to my dog Ryan Hall, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, I'm about to subscribe to him right now. This is a very informative and great video. Man, all of y'all that are watching this, please be safe. Be safe in this weather. I know some of y'all with some of these heat waves, y'all still gonna go out and have y'all fun. Be safe while doing so. Get y'all the fat boy towel if y'all need it. Grab the mini fans. Hydrate yourself, especially this summer. I know some of y'all niggas, y'all hate drinking water. Y'all don't even gotta drink water per se. Get you some Propel, some flavored water, please. Hydrate yourself. There are people out here that are either getting sick, unfortunately passing away in these heat waves because they aren't hydrating enough. So please do that. Love y'all so much. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Marso Mafia the gang, Marso Mob the squad, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Peace.